All right. Namaste, everyone, and welcome to the final day of the part two of yoga philosophy. So, today we are going to understand the essentials of pranayama, what all is needed for a pranayama practice. So, essentials. One of the most important things that we need for a pranayama practice is a long practice of asanas. And why do we need a long practice of asanas, the yoga postures? Because pranayama practice requires seated position, whether you're sitting down on earth or you're sitting on your mat or you're sitting on a chair. Pranayama practice always involves long duration of seating in the same posture. And the external factors could can very easily disturb the mind. So those external factors could be any sort of discomfort you might feel if you're not used to sitting in a certain position for a long time, right? And then this it could be some kind of sensations that may arise because, as we said, asanas are a kind of discipline. You are training the body to sit in a certain way, and that brings discipline to the mind as well. And this helps in the pranayama practice. So, pranayama practice, it has also been written somewhere that pranayama practice is cannot come around without the practice of asanas. So one has to get used to postures, practice, and then move on to the pranayama practice because the body gets used to being bent and being folded in a certain way and sitting there for a long, long time. So that is number one. Second essential thing will be a suitable place, suitable place, suitable time. Okay. Now, when we say suitable place and time, suitable place could be close to nature, very close to or in nature, well ventilated, well lit, and where um, you can very easily bring your body and mind to a standstill. Places like where there is no ventilation, where there is dark, not enough light, natural light. When we say light, it's natural light, not the bulbs and the LED lights. So that is very important because that helps the mind to calm down. Nature always helps. And time is like not practicing right after meals, heavy meals. That is not the right time to practice pranayama, right? So the most suitable time is early morning, or if you haven't eaten a heavy meal, then at least an hour after any meal. That's the suitable time. Now, even when you are sitting in even if you are not sitting in a asana and you want to use a chair for pranayama practice, even then the body has to be steady. Comes the third. The third is persistence and patience. These are the key factors to a successful pranayama practice. No, persistence and patience will not make you lose heart, not demotivate you. So you have to continue, whether you see the results or not, but you are persistent in your practice. And without any doubt, pranayama practice always brings wonderful results. But sometimes it takes a little longer. In that case, it has been said that your persistence really matters. And of course, persistence and patience are hand in hand. If you are patient, then definitely you will be determined to move forward. So, the prana connection to the body, the mind, and breath. This is going to further clarify how important pranayama is and the how essential uh, the regulation of prana is for because it is connected at all the three levels in every human being. It is taking care of all these three levels in a human body. So it is going to begin with a very day-to-day example, so it's easy to understand. Now let's start with the mind. Now mind creates a thought. Okay. Now mind creates a thought, and whether it is a happy thought or a sad thought, it brings a surge of emotions and feelings, right? As soon as a thought is created, there are emotions, there are feelings. It could be, and it could be another set of thoughts accompanying that emotions and feelings. So more thoughts will arise, right? So one thought could be a precursor to another set of thoughts, then emotions and feelings could be happiness, could be sadness, could be anger, could be fear, could be anything. Okay. Now, as soon as these things begin to emerge in the mind, which was created in the first place by one thought, the breathing gets affected right away.
Mhm.
Now, how can this get affected? It could, maybe the person may not realize and they have held the breath throughout this emotional surge, throughout the feeling, throughout that anger or guilt or fear, that phase, right? They may not be breathing during that time. That is number one, how the breath can get affected. Second, the breath can become very fast due to fear or anger, or it can become heavy and labored. So, this is how breath gets affected right away when the root is coming from the mind, from the thoughts. Okay? And when the breath gets affected, the signs and symptoms appear in the body, begin to appear in the body. And how can we notice them? In what way? Maybe some kind of naughty feeling in the stomach. Some
Mhm.
people feel that pain in the stomach, maybe loss of appetite, and it could be headache. It could be um, pale face due to fear, right? These are the signs and symptoms that we can notice in the body. Now, how it all started? From here,
Yeah.
right? From the mind, from the thoughts. So this gets carried to the breath and then it gets carried to the body. It may get, and now we are going to understand how this mind and prana are connected in the first place because it all begins from the mind. Now, it has been said that mind is fastened to prana.
Mind.
In it is directly connected to prana. So they are just like a kite is connected to a string. So the string is, let me draw here. So just like we have a kite and then we have the string, right? Now the string is the prana and the kite is the mind, just for understanding. Now, if prana is regulated, the string is in control, the kite will fly accordingly, right? So the control is in the string of the kite. Now, prana is the control, and once the prana is regulated through pranayama practice, the mind is regulated too. Now, when the mind is regulated, so let me beautify the kite somehow. I don't know, right? Yeah. So now, when the mind is regulated, let's come back to this, the example. Now, here the mind is regulated because of my pranayama practice. Now, emotions, feelings, thoughts will be regulated at the same time, right? And when my emotions, feelings, and regulated are regulated in a certain situation, which previously were not, and my thoughts created a change of my breath, and my breath created signs and symptoms in the body. So now, when I am practicing pranayama regularly, my mind is stable, it is under control because of my practice. Now, any kind of situation will also have an effect on my mind now in the other manner. My emotions, feelings, and thoughts will not be flared up as much as they were before. So eventually, my breath will be under control. I will not forget to breathe, right? And the signs and symptoms will not affect my body. So the line of control is the prana, which is the vital force, the vital energy, as we understood yesterday. So prana is fastened to the mind, and through the mind, it is connected to the will, and will is the willpower, which is another form of energy. Now, through the willpower, it is connected to the soul, and through the soul, it is connected to the Supreme Being. So, starting from here to here, this is all the spiritual journey. Starting from here, we go through the gates of the mind, we enhance the willpower, and this affects the soul, obviously in a positive way, and the soul is able to experience the divine power. So that's the relation between prana, mind, body, breath. Okay, just a little scientific way to explain pranayama. Now, we have the autonomic nervous system, which manages, we call that ANS, autonomic nervous system. Now, this has two parts, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, sympathetic nervous system is the system that takes care of the fight and flight situations, right? So any kind of such situations triggers this system and it comes into play. So this is the fight and flight, and it takes care of such situations, gets active. The parasympathetic nervous system is, it's a kind of resting system. So rest and digest, and it calms. It has a calming effect on the body and the mind. Now it calms so the body and the mind can conserve energy. So it has a calming effect. These are the roles of these two systems. Now, what happens? We are going to relate it to the pranayama practice. So, the autonomous nervous system, this manages the involuntary functions of the body. Now, involuntary functions are functions that we cannot control. Something like heartbeat, heart rate, something like whatever is going on in the digestive system, the digestion process controls the involuntary. Now, breathing is an involuntary function, basically. It is actually both, considered both, but it comes in under the autonomous nervous system. Now, when I breathe in, there is, I'm using the diaphragm, I'm using the expansion in the lungs. Now, breathing in is always a sympathetic step. It is going to excite the body. When I breathe out, it is going to relax the body. That is parasympathetic step. So that's why a long exhalation is always the tool to calm the body and the mind. In pranayama, we always say inhale and then lengthen your exhale, because exhale activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Inhale, the fight and flight. So it excites. Though both of them are balancing out when we are in a pranayama practice, but this is just for understanding's sake. And this is, so that was the connection, mind, body, and breath connection. We tried to understand it in terms of science also, and in terms of spirituality also. So both, there has been a comparison, but ultimately it all comes down to one thing, that prana is connected to the mind, and through the mind it gets connected to willpower of the person, which increases and which is enhanced, and through willpower the soul gets empowered, and through that the soul is able to experience the divine power, the supreme being. All right. So thank you all, and thank you for your time.